Hey guys, what's up? Mercy Stories continuing this summer. The series where we're looking at, from the verse on James, mercy triumphs over judgment, looking at different stories in life, in the Bible, in the ministry of Jesus, places like that, where we see this show up. And today I want to talk about the faith of the Centurion from Luke chapter 7, 1 through 10. So, just reading it, when Jesus had finished saying all these things to the people who were listening, he entered Capernaum. There a centurion's servant, whom his master valued highly, was sick and about to die. The centurion heard of Jesus and sent some elders of the Jews to him, asking him to come heal his servant. When they came to Jesus, they pleaded earnestly with him, "This man deserves to have you do this, because he loves our nation and has built our synagogue." So Jesus went with him. He was not far from the house when the centurion sent friends to say to him, "Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. That is why I do not even consider myself worthy to come to you, but say the word and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes, tell this one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him, and turning to the crowd following him, he said, "I tell you, I have not found such great faith even in Israel." Then the men who had been sent returned to the house and found the servant well. I love this story for a number of different reasons, but one, there's a lot of surprises here. There's these narratives that we sort of assume sometimes about Scripture and the context and stuff that aren't necessarily false. It's just that there's exceptions. So one example, we assume that Rome was terrible to the Jewish people, that they're the pagan rulers, and they were, and that's true. Caesar claimed himself to be a god a lot of different times. Certainly Caesar Augustus did, Domitian does later, Nero. There's some really bad ones. Some are better than others, but there is this kind of dominance relationship. The rulers of the Gentiles lording over all the people, but particularly the Jews, have a real just a real rough and a real acrimonious relationship with the Romans sometimes. But here's an exception, right? Even if that's generally true, there's of course exceptions. And here we have a Roman centurion in Capernaum. I've been to Capernaum, by the way. You can come with me to Capernaum. This is a shameless plug. March of 2021, holylandventures.net. Click on trip info. We go to Capernaum. We visit the synagogue, etc. It's really cool. Anyway, Capernaum's not that big. This centurion, the guy in charge of 100 soldiers who he helps build the synagogue, notice that the Jewish people here are pleading with Jesus, saying, if anybody deserves to have you do something for him, this is the guy. This Roman centurion has enough character, enough goodwill among the people. He cares for the Jewish people. Notice what verse 5, because he loves our nation and has built our synagogue. Isn't that remarkable? That this Roman centurion loves the Jewish nation, builds a synagogue, etc. This is maybe what we might call a God-fearer later on. I mean, these are strong words that they're saying. And he's concerned for his servant, his slave, right? The doulos is the word, which could be servant or slave. We think about, the horrific element of American slavery. This is apparently something different. This specific example, the master's so concerned about his servant that he's going to plead. He loves his servant. He wants to see good stuff happen for a servant. He's willing to ask Jesus for a miracle just so his servant gets well. And so there's just all sorts of surprises here. Jesus is surprised too. He says, "I've not found such great faith even in Israel." This Roman centurion is outdoing all of Israel in their faith. So just as we close here, as a Luke Acts scholar, I can't ignore the fact that this seems to be a story that's sort of kind of is a prelude, a preface, a foreshadowing of what's going to happen in Acts chapter 10, where Cornelius is going to be the first God-fearing Gentile convert from Caesarea is where he lives, but from being a Gentile to not converting to Judaism, but following Jesus in that way. And so this sort of whets the appetite, so to speak, for what's going to come later. So we talk about mercy, triumph over judgment. Jesus perhaps from a first century culture perspective, could have treated this guy with judgment. Hey, you're the enemy. You work for Rome. You work oppressing our people. Even if you specifically aren't guilty for oppressing our people, that's what your government is all about. And yet he doesn't do that, does he? This guy's rich. We think about Jesus hanging out with the poor. This guy's, at least in the culture, relatively rich. Is in charge of 100 soldiers, helps build this. I mean, he's got some means, and he displays faith, and Jesus helps him. And I think that's cool. Hope you guys are doing well. Keep looking for mercy stories in your world. Share those with me if you have them, and maybe we'll work them in. HolyLandVentures.net. Sign up for the trip. Come to Israel with me. God bless.